Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go racing. And our overlay just glitched out on it. AJ Godsey, Jeff Hinkle on the front row. Harley Barletta, David Garman on the second. Eric Stoy and Mark Nelson on the third. Kevin Reed, Richie West of the fourth. Ian Ogden rounds out the top 10 with Jared Heasley. Mike Smith, Mark Dantuma 11th and 12th. Gerald Thanos Poole, Aaron Mason 13th and 14th. Brandon Springer in 15th. Brian Oshinska 16th. DJ the Iceman Kenner starts in 17th. Give us just a moment getting our overlay working again. All the drivers out on their pace laps. Nicole, that's what she said. Creasel cheering on the number 23 of Jeff Hinkle. 3 of the 4 championship contenders on the front 2 rows. Mark Nelson starting back in 6th. And we hope to see Nicole back in the next season full time. The next season will start on October 9th. There will be some fun races in the interim, and some recruiting will happen. A lot of exciting racing about to start here. 2 exciting races tonight as 3 Wide Gen 6 Cup Series begins right after the BRR race. Pace car is in. They are down and away. Green flag is in the air. AJ Godsey, Jeff Hinkle starting the battle out front side by side. Down the back straightaway, still side by side through a lot of the field. Nobody settling in. Hinkle is going for it. Barletta in the fight now as well. Lap number 1 is in the books. Harley Barletta down to the bottom, down to the apron, making the move for the lead. AJ Godsey out front, a close battle as here comes David Garman trying to get around Eric Stoy. Mark Nelson, the 4th championship contender, back in 6th, looks under Garman. Saw a lot of loose race cars out here in practice. Richie West and Flash Gordon starting to make their way forward, battling with Kevin Reed for 7th. Mike Smith is starting to make his way up as well. Ian Ogden jumps down to the bottom. Ian shoots under Richie for 8th. Brandon Springer also starting to fight his way forward up into 14th. AJ Godsey, though, still in the lead. Jeff Hinkle in 2nd. Harley Barletta in 3rd. Eric Stoy in 4th, looking for his teammate to come up and give AJ a hand. Garmy holds 5th. Mark Nelson in 6th. Kevin Reed in 7th. Ian Ogden in 8th. Richie West in 9th. And this battle from 7th on back, or 6th on back rather, is getting a bit wild. Mark Nelson still holds 6th. The battle is on for 7th between Kevin Reed, Ian Ogden. Richie West occasionally sticking his nose in. Here comes Jared Heasley on the high side. Mike Smith lurking right. Oh, we've got one up in the wall. It's Kevin Reed. Kevin just grabs a little bit of the wall coming through 3 and 4. Loses a little momentum. Slips back into 12th. Thank you, Nicole. You're my favorite That's What She Said person. AJ still has the lead, but keeping a close eye on this battle back around 6th through 10th. Nelson still holds on to 6th, Ogden in 7th, Richie West in 8th, Mike Smith in 9th, Heasley in 10th. Gerald Thanos Poole starting to make his way forward, up into 11th. Kevin Reed back to 12th after that incident, getting into the wall. Dan Tuma now up into 13th. Excuse me, Dan Tuma was in the championship battle right up until the last elimination race, just barely eliminated. Jeff Hinkle comes by AJ Godsey for the lead. Harley Barletta now looking for a move on AJ. AJ did say in pre-race, and we've heard him say it before, these mile and a halves are not his strong suit. And because the points were reset to all 4 drivers being equal, it's going to come down to who finishes where tonight. Whoever takes the checkered first, regardless of position of those 4 people, will be the champ. Now, Harley Barletta into 2nd. Moves AJ back to 3rd. Mark Nelson has slipped back into 8th and is falling as here comes Mike Smith. Mike up 3 spots already into 8th place. Ian Ogden also up 3 spots. He's into 6th. Gerald Thanos Poole up 2 spots into 11th, and he is gaining on these guys. Whereas AJ struggles at mile and a half, this is where Thanos tends to shine. Jeff Hinkle out front, starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Barletta. Well, Barletta just got a good run off turn 4. Still the gap about 3.5 tenths. Eric Stoy in 4th, Garmin in 5th, Ian Ogden back in 6th. Richie West in 7th. Mark Nelson now back in 8th, one of the championship 4, drifting back early on. Could this be a strategy play to stretch the fuel and the tires? Jeff Hinkle opening up the gap just a little bit that time by. Meanwhile, the battle back here is still raging with Richie West now up into 7th. Mark Nelson in 8th, back to about 12th place. Mark Dantuma. These guys are fighting it out and changing positions every single lap. And look who's making his way forward. Gerald Thanos Poole now looking under Jared Heasley for 9th. Mike Smith was on the charge earlier, has slipped back to where he started in 11th. Unfortunately, tonight's race sponsor not in the race control booth. Topher Baltimore, a.k.a. Fat Thor, unable to be here tonight. Hopefully he'll make it in partway through this one. We can talk to him a little bit. But have to say, huge shout out to having him on board this season. Being able to race control some of the races has been a huge, huge help at different times. Also very proud that Nicole Kriesel is also an admin now for BRR. So it'll be nice to see what she does in the coming season. Hopefully, she goes out there and just wins them all. Harley Barletta and AJ Gotze have reeled Hinkle back in. Hinkle almost getting the wall. Garmin in his triumphant return, back in 5th. Looking back to this battle now, Mark Nelson still has Heasley, Poole, and Dan Tuma on their bumper. Smith starting to fade a little bit. Here comes Brandon Springer down to the bottom. Springer now up 3 spots into 12th. And Brandon back in the Oreo car tonight. Surprised he did not bring out the peanut butter car. Although they did, race control did get onto him and pretty much tell him no more peanut butter deployment system. It was an unfair advantage having the extra peanut butter grip on the car. Hinkle still out front. Harley and AJ on the back bumper. They've pulled a gap now on Eric Stoy and David Garmin. Ian Ogden back in 6th, Richie West in 7th, a little bit behind, and then Mark Nelson leads that 4-car fight. Oh, it looks like everybody is settling in for the run. Mark Dantuma in 11th, and he is faded tonight due to the fact he is back in the Ford tonight. It is unfortunate, but he kind of brought this on himself. Also, speaking of Mark Dantuma, some huge sponsorship announcements for next season coming in the next week. You guys will be hyped to hear what's coming. Make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and the YouTubes and all the links. Brandon Springer in 12th, up 3 spots. Brian Oshinska also starting to come forward. Started at 16th, is now up into 14th place, and DJ the Iceman Kenner did not take to the grid. A bit of a surprise. DJ is often dominant at tracks like this. Brian now reeling in Mike Smith to move up into 13th. Richie West, Mark Nelson still nose to tail right behind Ian Ogden. Here comes Nelson. He drops down to the bottom. Richie also was in the playoffs. Him and Mark Nelson got eliminated the same week. Hey, thank you, Glenn. Appreciate it. Glad to have you here tonight. Jeff Hinkle continuing to lead. Harley and AJ right behind him. And Garmin is now moved up into 4th and is gaining on them. Looks like Garmin might have been saving some tires early on. He has started to reel the field in. Eric Stoy holds on to 5th. Ian Ogden in 6th. Mark Nelson has marched his way back up to 7th. And it looks like he was saving a little bit early on. You heard Mark saying, hey, I'm often too nice on track. Hopefully he does not play nice here tonight. Gets up here and gets in the fight. 3 of the top 4 in points. 3 of the drivers battling for the title within 0.3 of a second of each other. But here comes a spoiler. Gorman has caught them. Oh, Eric Stoy gets into the wall. He manages to save it, gets into the wall off turn 2, slides down almost to the apron, hangs on to it. Wow, what a save by Eric Stoy. Watching closely as they come off 2 this time, starting to see tire wear. A lot of the drivers talking about the car a lot loose here tonight, especially on corner exit. For whatever reason, Las Vegas tends to have the most problems on corner exit with cars trying to break loose, especially on the exit of turn 2. Although on more than one occasion I've seen drivers get loose out of turn 4, go slide through the infield, and still pull off the save. The top 3 still nose to tail. Garmin right there with them. Looks like Garmin may be losing a little bit of ground here. No, he reels them in down the back straightaway. Eric Stoy back in 5th. Mark Nelson in 6th right there with him. Richie West coming by Ian Ogden. But now they're going to go at it. Ian looking back to the bottom. Heasley right behind him. Mark Dantuma now up to 10th. Gerald Poole, who was marching forward earlier, has drifted back into 11th. Another driver who was marching forward early on, Mike Smith, has now drifted back into 15th. And Kevin Reed, after getting the wall in 3 and 4, has drifted back into 16th. Mark Nelson has now hopped back into the top 5, but he is 3.7 seconds behind the leader. He's got a long way to go to get there. Jeff Finkel, Harley Barletta, AJ Godsey still nose to tail. Harley starting to look on the high side. Harley's been running that higher line this season. And as you heard in pre-race, he'd been changed up his driving style to try and be more conservative on tires, but he was concerned about losing the short run speed in the process. And when you're talking about battling with Jeff Hinkle, the king of tire saving, you've got to be on your game the whole time. As we mentioned, while this season is ending, a new season is beginning tonight as the three-wide the three-wide Gen 6 Cup Series begins tonight at Chicagoland right after this race. That ought to be an interesting season to watch. Great to see guys using the older cars for different series. Just like the Nowski guys running the older Cup cars, the legacy cars, on Wednesday nights. Those are extremely fun to watch and obviously difficult to handle. Much like these Xfinity cars, a lot of power, not a lot of downforce. Garmin continues to lurk, but loses a little bit of time here and there. Meanwhile, these top 3, every now and again it looks like Harley's going to make a move, but then just is staying right behind, and AJ is definitely not pushing the issue right now. Harley right to the back bumper. As soon as we say something, he puts the nose in on the bottom. Just does not have the run off turn 2. Hinkle pulls ahead. The 4th championship contender lurks back in 5th place, 4 seconds back. As this runs on, after lap 40, we could start seeing pit stops. Green flag stops in Vegas can get interesting. Green flag stops anywhere can be tricky. You run the risk of penalties. You run the risk of being involved in an incident, causing an incident. Anything can happen under green flag stops. It's going to make this one, especially in a situation where everybody in the top 3 and all 4 of the championship contenders in the top 5, one mistake could end somebody's championship hopes here tonight. Canadian Stig cheering on Jeff Hinkle. These 3 have settled in. Garmin trying to fight his way back up into the fight. Mark Nelson has just started gaining ground on the top 3. He is 4 seconds, or he was 4 seconds back. He's just started gaining a couple hundredths of a second a lap, but he is starting to make up ground. Eric Stoy back in 6th, now has his hands full. Here comes Richie West. Richie looks down to the bottom. Eric fighting back up on the high side. Jared Heasley back in 8th. Ian Ogden in 9th. Mark Dantuma not far behind in 10th. Heasley going to the apron. He's looking to make something happen. Meanwhile, Richie and Eric still battling side by side. Richie gets the nose ahead on corner entry. Eric has the run off. And now Heasley up to the high side gets by Richie. What a move by Jared Heasley. And now Jared's looking down to the bottom on Eric. Ian Ogden is caught back up into this group now. And Mark Dantuma actually starting to gain some ground on the group as well. Ian Ogden and Gerald Poole have come to pit road. Green flag pit stops are underway. Now the question is, when do the leaders come in? David Garmin has lost touch with the top 3, now over a second behind. And AJ Godsey is the first of the top 3 on pit road. Mark Nelson goes as well. Jeff Hinkle, Harley Barletta, 2 drivers that we know for a fact are trying to stretch tires and fuel here, staying out a little bit longer. And it looks like Hinkle is coming. Harley is coming as well. Both drivers on pit road. And Gorman to the lead for the first time tonight. The first time in a long time. David Garmin, his triumphant return, comes to the lead in Vegas. Eric Stoy now scored in 2nd. Jared Heasley 3rd. Richie West at 4th. These guys trying to stretch that fuel as far as possible. Garmin is all pit road. Heasley and Dan Tuma stay out. Brandon Springer, Richie West, Eric Stoy on pit road. Kevin Reed is on pit road. Kevin definitely needed the pit stop for repairs. And it looks like Jared Heasley is setting up. He's going to come to pit road. Mark Dantuma. Oh, come on, Mark. Get her road up, buddy. Just barely. Mark Dantuma really sent it to pit road that time. And here comes Brian Oshinska. And after pit stop cycle through, it looks like the lead's going to go to AJ Godsey. Oh my gosh, Rob, I just got that joke. That is awesome, and I never thought about it, and I will never not think about it going forward. Hinkle is Einhorn, and Einhorn is Hinkle. I looked it up, and as soon as I saw it, it clicked. Anyway, AJ Godsey has the lead by 2.5 seconds. Looks like nobody had any issues on pit road. AJ just managed to get all the timing perfect, a good pit stop, and gets out with a big, big lead. Hinkle and Barletta second and third. Garmin in fourth. Ian Ogden now up into the top 5. Mark Nelson in 6th. Gerald Poole has an awesome stop. Comes out in 7th. Richie West in 8th. Jared Heasley, after the late stop, is in 9th. And Mark Dantuma in the top 10 and 10th. Eric Stoy in 11th. Brandon Springer is 12th. Mike Smith in 13th. Aaron Mason now in 14th. Brian Oshinska 15th. And Kevin Reed in 16th. AJ came out with a 2.5 second lead, but right now Jeff Hinkle is running them down. He's now 1.6 seconds back and gaining. Kevin Reed and Brian Oshinska both lost a lap during that run. Brian currently in position to get the waiver in if the caution comes out. Kevin back in 16th after that incident. Remember, Kevin was up there in the top 10 battling when he got a little too high through 3 and 4. And tagged the wall. Jeff Hinkle has closed the gap down now to 1 second as he closes on AJ. Harley in third has lost a half a second to Jeff Hinkle. Garmin in fourth, 3.5 seconds back from Barletta. Ian Ogden in 5th and Mark Nelson in 6th. Fairly close here, 0.3 of a second. Gerald Poole now up into 7th and gaining on him. Richie West currently runs in 8th. Heasley in 9th with Dantuma in 10th. Dantuma now looking to the high side off turn 2. Down the back straightaway into turn 3, and Mark Dantuma moves up into 9th. Although there are concerns about Dantuma tonight, back in the Ford, the engine could just grenade itself at any moment. I did talk to Mark before the race and made sure he was very aware we were very disappointed in him in getting back in the Ford. Of course, Garmin always drives a Ford, but there is nothing we can do to help him at this point. I've given up trying with Garmin. AJ Godsey still in the lead. But Jeff Hinkle has reeled him in. Hinkle less than half a second behind. What a run by Jeff Hinkle to come from 2.5 seconds back. If I were the other drivers on track right now, I'd be very, very concerned. Worth noting, the next couple of weeks, BRR is off. The new season begins on October 9th. That does not mean your Sunday nights will be empty. Oh no. 3-wide Gen 6 Cup Series starts tonight. You'll have that. And in addition, you never know, BRR's having some fun races. You never know when I might just hop in a car and go play with the boys. And the ladies. Sorry, Nicole. Wild Bill Percy is in the comments cheering on Hinkle. Hope to see Bill back in the series the Sunday nights next season. Hopefully he puts a full rig in his 18-wheeler, in his Peterbilt, so that we can see him race regardless of where he's at. Mark Nelson back in 5th. Trying to run down the top 3. Remember, the top 3, AJ Godsey, Jeff Hinkle, and Harley Barletta, and Mark Nelson are the 4 championship contenders here tonight. Mark has started reeling in Garmy, now just 2.7 seconds back. And Garmy 3.8 seconds back from the top 3. AJ Godsey still holds the lead, but Hinkle is there. And I guarantee you Hinkle is sweating bullets I guarantee AJ is sweating bullets right now as quickly as Jeff Hinkle ran him down. Hinkle's starting to look low. Looks like while these two are battling, we've got a little bit of a fight brewing a little further back. As Richie West in 7th, Mark Dantuma 8th, Gerald Poole in 9th, and Jared Heasley in 10th have closed up on each other. Ian Ogden now in 6th place, trying to catch back up to Mark Nelson in 5th. AJ and Jeff still battling out up front. Lap traffic coming into play now as Mike Smith has been caught by the leaders. Mike, another driver we haven't seen in the car in a while, obviously knocking some of the dust off and getting back out there. He was charging forward early on. Expect him to be a top contender next season. Mike moves up to the high side. Here comes AJ and Jeff. And at the halfway point, AJ and Jeff still nose to tail. Harley Barletta 1.3 seconds back. Garmin in 4th and Mark Nelson in 5th. Back to this battle from 7th on back. Richie West, Mark Dantuma nose to tail. Jared Heasley is gaining on him. He's down to less than half a second. Thanos has lost touch with him. But Eric Stoy is starting to catch up. I'm not sure what has happened to Eric, though. He has just drifted back from the start of the race. Did not see his pit road speed was just a little bit slow, and apparently that has caused him. His pit stop was about normal. Actually, his pit stop was rather fast, a 14.67, but he was on pit road 2 seconds longer than everybody in front of him. It looks like he was just being extra careful to not get a pit road speeding penalty tonight. AJ Godsey has pulled ahead of Harley Barletta, who has gotten past Jeff Hinkle. Let's see if we can see. Jeff off of turn 4. Harley just comes by. I'm not even sure why Jeff is suddenly fading. But AJ's lead is now almost 2 seconds over Harley and 3 seconds over Jeff Hinkle. Garmin back in 4th, Mark Nelson in 5th. No battle there right now. Ian in 6th. Richie West in 7th. Now has Jared Heasley on his bumper after having gotten by Mark Dantuma. Gerald Poole back in 10th. Now has his hands full as here comes Eric Stoy. Eric looks down to the bottom. He's going to come by and move himself into the top 10. Thank you, Nicole. He may very well have gotten into the wall. Gonna see if we can find what happened to Jeff Hinkle while they are Oh, this appears to be right after they got past Mike Smith. Nope, this is right before they came around Mike Smith. We'll speed up the replay just a little bit so we can find out what happened to Jeff Hinkle here. Hinkle grabs a little bit of the wall. Actually, no, he did not grab the wall. He got very, very close to it. Here they come out of turn 2. They're in Mike's draft. And let's see if Jeff got the wall. There's Mike moving up out of the way. Hinkle slides down underneath. Oh! Oh! Jeff Hinkle just gets into Mike, drifts up the track, gets completely sideways. What an epic save by Hinkle. But loses a ton of momentum and allows Harley Barletta to get back by. Good evening, Topher Grace. Cheering on Harley Barletta, who is now 2.4 seconds behind AJ, but he is gaining ever so slowly. Just 1/100 of a second here and there right now. Now remember, Harley has been practicing all season long, changed his strategy, his driving style to try and make tires last longer and have more late run speed. Just over 10 laps away from pit stops, Harley might be coming alive here. Worth noting, Vegas is not a track you think of tire wear being a huge issue at. However, AJ Godsey's best lap on fresh tires, 30.39. Last time by, 32.08. So tire wear is playing a big factor here. Looked like AJ might have gotten just a hair loose out of turn 4 that time. But as much as AJ likes dirt and driving things that are hard to control, that getting loose off the turn does not ever seem to bother him. Hinkle about 1.5 seconds now behind Harley, has started slowly reeling him back in. Although, given how the first half of this run went for Jeff Hinkle and how quickly he was able to run down AJ, I do not think he is out of the fight yet. Ian Ogden currently up 3 spots into 6th place, has Heasley right there with him in 7th. Richie West not far behind in 8th. Mark Dantuma closing in 9th, and Eric Stoy back there in 10th, gaining on him. And Jared Heasley and Ian Ogden, holy cow, they're close. Just inches apart. Jared tried to go through that turn using 8 tires instead of 4. Fortunately, backed out of it. That has allowed Richie West and Mark Dantuma to reel him in even more. Mark Nelson in 5th place, navigating some lap traffic, one of the championship 4. AJ Godsey out now 2.8 seconds ahead of Harley. He started, we don't generally think of AJ as being one of the guys really good at conserving tires, but here he is tonight getting it done. Oh, Bill Percy is laying down a $5 bounty on the 32 of Jared Heasley. Bill, that's not a wise choice. You know how much I love that paint scheme. I mean, it is just beautiful. It's perfection. Why would you want to hurt that car? AJ's lead 2.8 seconds as they are just a few laps away from final pit stops. Final pit stops could be a huge deciding factor here. Jeff Hinkle in 3rd, now losing ground to Harley Barletta. And Garmin is gaining on him. Mark Nelson is also slowly reeling in Garmy back in 5th. Bill, you cannot get to the driver without getting to the car. Mark Dantuma, Richie West have a battle for 8th, but it looks like Dantuma's going to come out on top. Although Mark gets a big push out of the turn and Richie looks back to the bottom. Heasley comes by a lap car as he is still trying to find a way around Ian Ogden. That was Aaron Mason in the 75. A bit surprised to see Aaron. Oh! Dantuma getting under Aaron. A bit surprised to see Aaron Mason struggling on a 1.5 miles. This is where One of those tracks he tends to excel at, and Eric Stoy is the first driver to pit road. Eric pulling in for what should be his final stop. Topher, I have to agree. I think, and that was something we've heard a couple drivers talk about tonight. How much is too much saving? And finding that balance between aggression and conservation as Gerald Thanos Poole is on pit road. AJ Godsey brings it in from the lead. Harley is on his way in. Jeff Hinkle is on his way in. Garmy stays out. Mark Nelson is staying out. And David Garman goes back to the lead. We have seen Garman pull this strategy before for a win. He came in 2 laps later than the majority of the field, or the majority of the lead. No, he's on pit road. Garman is in. Mark Nelson is in. Mark Dantuma stays out. Richie West stays out. Jared Heasley is in. Now it's going to be a question of how they come off of pit road. AJ Godsey is already back out. He has a 2.6 second lead on Barletta, but Barletta is gaining on him. Brian Oshinska is back in the mix, and Jeff Hinkle is now 6.7 seconds behind AJ. Jeff Hinkle, though, last time he was on pit road, came out with 2.5 seconds behind AJ. Holy cow, Hinkle's way out of shape. Manages to save it. Hinkle was 2.5 seconds behind AJ last time and ran him down in less than a handful of laps. Now he's set over 7 seconds behind. Can he run AJ back down? Dantuma and Richie West on pit road. AJ Godsey will cycle back into the lead. Harley will cycle back into second. Hinkle back into third. Now the gap between AJ Godsey and between AJ and Harley, 2.9 seconds right now. From AJ to Jeff Hinkle, right at 8 seconds. Garman not far behind Hinkle. Brian Oshinska currently in 5th, has not made his final stop. Mark Nelson holds on to 6th. Jared Heasley in 7th. Ian Ogden in 8th. Eric Stoy in 9th. And Richie West in 10th. Brian Oshinska will be the last driver to pit, it looks like. But he will have the freshest tires out there as Ian Ogden comes to pit road. Brian last pitted on lap 43. He stretched further than everybody. Should see him in this time. No, he does not come to pit road. Brian is really stretching it out. Mark Nelson now gaining on him. The older tires definitely showing here as Mark Nelson is now back into the top 5. Brian currently holds on to 6. He's going to have to pit very, very quickly. But he stays out. That is a bit of a surprise. He loses ground. He will have the freshest tires and the fastest car after he pits, but there is a fine line between stretching that and coming out with the freshest tires and stretching too far and losing too much time. Brian ducks in, the final driver to come to pit road. Final pit stops completed. AJ Godsey now 2.6 seconds ahead of Harley Barletta in second. Jeff Hinkle currently in third, 5.25 seconds behind Barletta. David Garman in fourth has caught up to Hinkle. Mark Nelson in fifth, 7 seconds back. The top four, the 4 championship contenders, all in the top 5, but as of right now, AJ way out front. Barletta currently runs in second, Hinkle in third, Garmy in fourth. Mark Nelson, the 4th championship contender, currently runs in 5th. Actually, 7.37 seconds behind Jeff Hinkle. He is chipping away at that gap ever so slightly. But it is AJ Godsey holding the lead about 2.8 seconds right now. And surprisingly, Jeff Hinkle, since his second stop, has really not reeled anybody in like we saw after that first pit stop. If memory serves, 2 years ago, AJ won the first BRR season in the Cup cars. And looking to win again here tonight. I'm sorry, season 1 was in ARCA cars when AJ won his first title. In fact, I'll have to check, but I do believe AJ has won a championship in the Sunday night series in every car that is ran in. So the first season was the ARCA, the first 2 seasons were ARCA cars, then the Cup car, and now the Xfinity car. And I do believe AJ has won a championship in each of those. And with just 25 laps to go, next time by, a 3.25 second lead over Harley Barletta. He stands poised to do it again. Harley Barletta also has a Cup Series championship. Jeff Hinkle has been so close so many times. And Mark Nelson has only been with the league a couple of seasons, but wow, what a show he has put on this season. And again, just worth noting that last night the Truck Series came to a close with Jim Johnson pulling off his first BRR title. Congratulations, Jim. We'll be talking to him tomorrow night for Jones BS Racing, but man, just a great job by Jim. Gerald Poole was very close on that title battle as well. And next season, look for Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel, to be battling for both titles, and she better get one done. Very valid point there. The Oreo car of Brandon Springer trying to chase down Harley Barletta's white car, the milk car. Good call. Very good call, Rob. Although that could be catastrophic when he gets to Harley. He might want to dip the Oreo in a little milk. Kevin Reed a lap down, trying to make his way back around Harley now. If AJ wins tonight, it'll be his 10th win of the season. Jared? Okay, so I'm getting a hi, Doug, from Jared. Jared, don't text and drive, buddy. We'll watch Jared here for a minute and just see if we can tell when he's texting. Jared currently running in 9th, has fought his way back and forth all night and has been in some of the most epic battles that we've seen out there. Including that extremely close side-by-side battle with Eric Stoy just a little bit ago. Jared might want to stop texting and driving. Gerald Poole is gaining on him very quickly in that Kings of Thrash car. And don't forget to check out Kings of Thrash on Facebook. I don't have their website in front of me, but all former members of the band Megadeth, like Jeff Young, the lead guitarist from the late 80s, and also just on a personal note, man, that guy is awesome. I've talked to him a bunch of times. Really, really cool guy. And they are touring. Jared, just FYI, it's a good thing Bill Percy... Oh, wait a minute. Bill Percy's an admin and requesting a black flag for you texting and driving. Nicole saying next season, look for her to be in the fight in the trucks. And Nicole, no more Mrs. Nice Lady. Get out there and get her done. Don't give anybody an inch. AJ Godsey has now extended his lead to 4 seconds over Harley Barletta. Harley has 3.8 seconds over Jeff Hinkle. Garmin in 4th, staying right on Hinkle's bumper. Mark Nelson now 7 3/4 of a second back in 5th. Mark Dantuma has somehow managed to make his way up into 6th, 3.5 seconds behind Mark Nelson and gaining on him. Richie West currently runs in 7th, Eric Stoy in 8th. Heasley runs in 9th and Thanos in 10th. Brandon Springer is the last car on the lead lap in 11th. No, I stand corrected. Springer is 1 lap down. The first car, 1 lap down now. Does not look like Topher Baltimore is going to be joining us, and I know we're going to be talking to Jared after the race, but just a huge shout out to the entire BRR league on a personal level. These guys I've been with since the league was formed. A great group of guys. Love racing with them. Love broadcasting with them. And I have to say, all of them are awesome, both as drivers, but all great friends. And I have gotten a lot of support from these guys. Cannot appreciate this league enough. These guys and the lady, the first lady of BRR. And it's great knowing that next season we're going to have the whole group back together again. Gourmet is back, now living in my old stomping grounds of San Angelo, Texas. He'll be back in the car. Plus, we'll have Mike Smith, who has finally gotten moved and settled in back to a normal life. He's going to be back with us for the full season. We'll have the whole crew back together again. AJ Godsey reeling in Aaron Mason. Aaron currently in 12th. Aaron not been with us the whole season. He was out a large... Oh, Aaron's way up by the wall trying to let AJ by. Aaron had some scheduling with work issues. Finally got that squared away mid-season. Look for him to be back in the fight next season as well. Brandon Springer, who was out several races due to 2 broken fingers, will be back for the entire next season. Ian Ogden will be back. And, of course, Kevin Reed. And Kevin gets a wall out of 2. Expect Kevin to be in contention once again next season. Larry Ashby returns next season as well. Can't wait to see Larry back out on track. There's even a discussion going on right now about possibly going to Albuquerque next spring, and if so, I'll get to see Larry Ashby in person. AJ Godsey comes around out of turn 4. He's going to get 10 laps to go. Don't forget to tune in next week. Well, let's just go over right after this. We're going to have the new 3-wide Gen 6 Racing League will be here for the first time ever at Chicagoland. Then tomorrow night, Jones BS Racing returns, and the kids, they even have started a kids league that we'll get to see a little bit of tomorrow. I believe it starts tomorrow night or the following Monday. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but Jones BS Racing League is back tomorrow night. Tuesday night, XCal returns as we begin the final run to that championship. Wednesday night, the Nowski Nation has their second race of the playoff season. Then next weekend, there will be a lot of fun races going on with a lot of these leagues, and you never know when I might just hop in the car and go out there and just crash people. Especially that Wild Bill Percy guy. AJ Godsey's lead now 4 1/4 seconds over Harley. Jeff Hinkle back in third, 3.1 seconds back. Gourmet has lost touch with Hinkle in fourth. Mark Nelson in fifth, 5.7. He is gaining on Gourmet dramatically. That gap was about 7.5 seconds not long ago. Looks like Nelson is reeling him in. Mark Dantuma in sixth, about 4.9 seconds back. Richie West currently runs in seventh, 1.7 seconds behind Dantuma. Eric Stoy, 3.5 seconds back in eighth. Heasley, 3.5 seconds back in ninth. Gerald Thanos Poole gaining on Heasley in 10th. Brandon Springer in 11th. Brian Oshinska in 12th. Brian is another one we have not talked about a lot this season, but the last half of this season has been consistently a lot faster, has been up in the top 10, sometimes in the top 5 battling. Expect to see him be a contender next season. As we mentioned, Aaron Mason will be back full-time next season. Ian Ogden, Kevin Reed, and Mike Smith. 5 laps to go for AJ. He'll come around and get 4 laps to go. Just needs to coast it. 5-second lead now. Hinkle is quickly reeling in Barletta. Now down to 2 1/4 seconds. Remember, last time we looked at him just 2 laps ago, he was 3 seconds back. He is reeling Barletta in quickly. Everybody is good on fuel. Tires, they got what they got from here. AJ Godsey coming out of turn 4 will get popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go. Coming out of 3 and 4, looking for the white flag here. Harley gained 0.2 of a second that time. He had to crank it up. Hinkle now 2 seconds behind and gaining. White flag is in the air for AJ Godsey. Looking at his 10th win of the season and the championship. Down the back straightaway, aims towards turn 3. Into turn 3, AJ has got a 4.7 second lead. And out of turn 4, AJ Godsey is going to get his 10th win of the season and the title. Harley Barletta comes home in 2nd. Jeff Hinkle comes home 3rd. Garmin finishes 4th, and Mark Nelson comes home in 5th. And what a season it has been. Let's see if we can talk to our top 3, starting with Jeff Hinkle. Hey, Jeff, it's Doug. You got me?
I sure do, Doug.
Hey, first off, a great race. And after that first stop, the run you had was simply amazing. 2.5 second gap closed in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I just I made a mistake there getting past a lap car and misjudged it, and then I lost all of that once I made that up. And so at that point, my race was pretty much over. I couldn't catch up from that mistake.
Well, man, it has been an awesome season, so close to the title, but I know it is just 1 or 2 seasons away. That was a great season. You put on a great race tonight. Congratulations, buddy. That was awesome.
All right, thanks, Doug.
Jeff Hinkle comes home in 3rd, both in the title race and in the race. Harley Barletta comes home in 2nd. Hey, Harley, it's Doug. You got me?
What's up, Doug? I'm flying through the air.
I see that, man.
It's killed. They killed it. Oh.
Demo Derby post-race, man. Was a great race for you. We didn't see that long. We saw that long run speed really kick in late in the run, but it looked like it might have been just a little too late.
Yeah, AJ short pit on that first stop, and that gave him a big enough gap. I saved a little too much on the second run there, and him and Jeff got away from me, and we really couldn't rebound from that. We thought we had a really good pit entry on the last stop, but he beat us out really quick and just crushed it.
Well, man, it was an awesome race for you. Another awesome season. You come home 2nd in points, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy.
And let's talk to our new champion, AJ Godsey. And AJ, I was thinking about this earlier. We've run, since the beginning of BRR, we've run ARCA, Cup, and Xfinity, and now you have a championship, as I recall, in all 3.
Not in ARCA. I think we only did ARCA 1 season, and David won that. But yeah, I got 2 in Cup and 1 in Xfinity now. So,
Man, that was an awesome run. You and Hinkle, until that mistake with the lap car, it looked like it was going to come down to possibly a last lap battle between you.
Yeah, Hinkle was definitely fast. Once that happened, I knew the gap was open. I just had to try to maintain it and not hope for a caution. But yeah, I knew coming in, Hinkle was going to be hard to beat. Nobody puts in more time and effort than that guy. So it was an honor to race with him for this championship.
Well, man, a great run, a great season with 10 wins on the season, man. That was a dominant performance.
Yeah, that says a lot because this group is not easy to beat, and they bring it every night, man. It was tough every race.
I have to ask, are you okay after Ian just sending you flying?
I have been airborne 3 times since I crossed the start finish line.
I noticed that.
I was hoping to get some burnouts in, but it's not looking good.
No, it's really not. You're blowing up there, buddy. Man, awesome season. Congratulations, and looking forward to seeing the future for you.
Thanks, Doug. I want to thank you, all the admins who put all this together, and everybody who helped me along the way. Hinkle and Richie and Eric and everybody else.
Man, I have to say, while you're thinking everybody, this would not exist had you not brought it together. So this is well earned, and we all thank you for starting this group.
Thanks, Dougie. You're the man.
AJ Godsey gets a championship, and let's see if we can get a quick word with our league owner, Jared Heasley. Hey, Jared, it's Doug. You got me?
What's going on, Doug?
Hey, I have to agree that was the proper way for these boys to celebrate. But, man, another epic season and a great way to finish it out.
We had to retire these crappy Xfinity cars and get out of these things. So just destroy them now, burn it to the ground, and move on to a car that's not this thing.
Well, that is definitely the case, man, and a lot to look forward to going into the next season.
Yeah, I look forward to every season. You know, it's fun to get this group together and do what we do. You know, I explain to people, you know, what I do and how much we race, and they don't understand it, but it's really cool to get guys from sea to shining sea, if you will, and get these guys together and do this every week at a competitive level. So congrats to AJ again. It sucks that he won half the season in the championship, but it's no small feat.
No, it really wasn't, man. Anybody you want to, I know we talked about it pre-race. I know you've got some shout-outs to do.
You know, I can't do this without the admins and all the guys to put this thing together and all the work they do behind the scenes. But Topher Baltimore, Fat Thor, as we lovingly call him, is the MVP of BRR. As much as we lose to AJ, I can't do this without him and Jeff and Mark and Richie and Nicole, Bill. Unfortunately, Bill, I have to give a shout out to him. But it's fun, and I'm glad we can do this every year. And you, of course, you know, you're the shining star, the voice of BRR.
Well, thank you. And yeah, Bill was talking a bit smack, so you're going to have to do something about that in the offseason.
That's all right. I was in ninth place texting you, so.
That was pretty funny. Bill did say we should give you a black flag for that, but I disagreed.
I probably deserve it. The wall deserves a black flag for hitting my car. It's his fault. That's why I finished ninth.
Well, man, this season is over. The Xfinities get retired, and a big season to look forward to.
Right, October 9th, BRR goes next gen. I look forward to it. Go back to Daytona.
Hey, there's no better place to start than Daytona.
Always.
Well, congratulations on another great season, buddy, and looking forward to what the future holds, man.
Yep, same.
Thanks, man. All right, y'all. BRR season comes to a close, but don't go anywhere. A new season starts here in just a few minutes as the 3-wide Gen 6 League begins their new season at Chicagoland. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of names you'll recognize and some new names and faces. This is a group we used to broadcast all the time. I am so looking forward to having this group back together. They're just out there to have a little bit of fun tonight and looking forward to the show they're about to put on. Don't go anywhere. We'll switch over and be back with you in just a few moments. Congratulations to AJ Godsey. 10 wins and a title.